And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. And now, ladies and gentlemen, put your hearts and hands together for the man who discovered his purpose and lives it loud, Larry Extraordinaire Moten, and the motivator born to ignite minds and shift atmospheres, the amazing Keith Fletcher, and the man who brings clarity to the chaos with the voice of reason you can't ignore, the one and only Mr. Vincent Craig. Make no mistake, there is no word without our host. Welcome to the movement, welcome to the message, welcome to the world premiere, Word on the Street.
You still there?
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the world premiere of Word on the Streets. I am extraordinaire. And friends, you all know him. The man simply needs no introduction. And I know why you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Mr. Keith Fletcher.
What's up? How y'all doing out there, man? I'm glad. Oh, we here. It's Thursday, boy. It's time to get ready, man. I'm excited to be back. And I got Vincent, extraordinaire, and amazing Keith Fletcher here. Excited, man, in the state of Texas. It's hot, sweaty, ready to work, man. Glad to be here. What's up, extraordinaire? What's up, Vince?
Hey, man. Hey, brother Keith and Vincent, Word on the Streets family, we are so excited. We're so excited to be back with you all in your living room, wherever you are, in your automobile, in your car, wherever you are. And of course, you all know Fletcher now, we've been coming on every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we've been yapping it up, giving you the best that we got. But friends, we just got more fortune today. We are fortunate and honored to have a new member of the world premiere Word on the Streets. And right now, friends, Vincent Craig is going to come to you all and let you know who he is and all of that great stuff. So put your heart and hands together for our newest member, Vincent Craig.
Good evening, everyone. Keith, extraordinaire. How y'all doing today?
Man, doing fantastic, brother.
Good. Blessed to be here. Wanted to give some insight as far as who I am so I can be a little bit of a more, transparent. Vincent Craig, Dallas native, all of my life. Married with 2 children. If you want to count my wife's 2, then we have 4. Resident in Little Elm / Oak Point. Been in the accounting world for about 30 years. You name it, I've done it in the accounting industry except for CFO and CEO. I'm not looking to do that. I want to be the CEO of my own life. But yeah, I have 2 sons. Prior to my marriage of 4 years, I was a single dad for about 10 of those years. And, Keith was able to walk through some of my ups and downs as far as, my first marriage. Things of that nature, but raised 2 young men on my own with the help of the community, because it truly does take a village. I came up in the church of Pastor Tony Evans, Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, back in the early 80s and 90s. So I'm a proud representative of OCBF. Had the pleasure of rubbing elbows with his children, Priscilla, Crystal, Anthony, Jonathan, who now leads the church. And, you can just see from that offspring from that church and how everything is going. I'm a leader. I'm a husband, child of God, not without flaws, though. I'm just here to make the world a better place. And while I'm helping to make it a better place, I'm also learning to be better. So I'm not going to be that one that you can't tell me anything. I am kind of stubborn at sometimes. It depends on what the topic is, but I try to be a consummate professional every step of the way. But again, once I I did say I'm not perfect, right? We all make mistakes. Uh, but that's why I'm here is to, just kind of be the voice of reason. But not only that, just to kind of lean on these other two young men here to help me. Call one of them, well, they're both my elders because I'm actually the baby of the team. But I'm, I'm just, I'm just kind of glad to be on board. Looking forward to just trying to bring something to the table. That's it.
Brother Vincent Craig,
Yes,
friends.
sir.
Brother Vincent Craig, welcome to the world premiere Word on the Streets, my brother. Uh, the youngest one in the bunch.
I know if you're there, gonna have a problem with that right
we'll,
there.
we'll talk about that after the show.
We will. I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, folks, hey, friends, we're excited to be here, excited to be with you all. Uh, we like to send prayers and love shout out to Selena.
Yes.
Keith, why don't you give us a report on Selena, please, brother?
And I talked to her this morning, man. She in the hospital still, but she doing fantastic. I sent her the link, man, but she still look, out of it. But she called me earlier and asked me what's the time. I forgot to call her, but I texted. But she doing well. She back. She talked to her on the phone, man. And we prayers work, man. They work. So she doing real well, and I'm happy, man. It knocked the wind out of me, but we back. She back. You know what I'm saying? Still got a little work to do with herself and build herself back up. But keep praying, man. Keep the prayers up, man. So she doing well.
And of course, I think it's this weekend coming up, Sunday coming up is Father's Day, something like that for all the dads out there. And all you folks who want to show some love and admiration. Of course, I have a different take on that. I think, every day is a special day when, as long as we're alive and breathing, I think, I don't want to miss an opportunity of doing my best and being the best that I can be towards somebody that I care for and love for. But for those of you all who do want to celebrate, make sure you go out there and show your father, your dad, your mentor, that person, that special person in your life, how much you appreciate them. And we just got a comment from Selena. She is on board.
Okay.
Hello,
Okay.
we're rooting for you, girl. We're praying for you.
Yes, we are.
But anyway, before we go on, we're going to go into our show tonight, friends. We're going to be talking about relationship, going to be talking about money, finance, communication, relationship, all that stuff stirred up in one pot. And all of it is very necessary. So you don't want to go anywhere. You want to stay tuned. You want to stay locked in. You want to stay right here. Vincent, Fletcher, and I will be back after this intro. Check it out, friend.
Welcome to world premiere Word on the Streets, where we unpack what really matters, how we live, how we grow, and how we face the truths we'd sometimes rather avoid. Tonight's episode is about more than just dollars and cents. Because let's be honest, money problems don't usually start with money. Sometimes, the real conversation we need to have isn't just with a financial advisor, it's with ourselves and the person we're sharing life with. And if we miss that window, we might find ourselves stuck in silence, misunderstanding, or resentment, not because we're broke, but because we're disconnected. So in this first part of the show, we'll touch on that, how communication and emotional clarity can uncover what's really going on. And you'll hear a powerful moment from someone who knows this firsthand. Then in part 2, we're diving deeper into finance with insights from Robert Kiyosaki himself. So stay locked in, because we've got a whole lot to unpack right here on world premiere Word on the Streets.
My not talking about it was probably one of the biggest forms of self-betrayal, because I thought, if I say something, then maybe it'll be a fight, or I don't want to rock the boat. And I would do it very differently. And so in that chapter, which talks about all different scenarios of telling the truth and regardless of your relationship status. I talk about how important it is to speak up when you are not, when something's wrong and you know something's wrong and you're not treated with the love and respect that you deserve. And if it means rocking the boat and then there becoming a fight or the demise, the end of the relationship, so be it. Because ignoring that would become that dynamic.
Larry, is it me or did it
And that
turn
pattern
off?
would become a pattern that plagued our marriage.
Lack of communication, being transparent, being able to talk about the issues and the problems that you're having. You know, a lot of time when relationships fall apart, it's for several reasons, and sometimes we do ourselves a disservice, and we narrow things down, and sometimes we begin to think maybe if I had made enough money. Sometimes we misplace the most important thing that we really need to deal with, and that's open and honest communication. You know, we often say on this show that we always grabbing for things outside of ourselves. We always trying to solve a problem with things outside of ourselves. We generally trying to explain a problem the same way from things outside of ourselves. I'm in a relationship. My relationship is going south. It's going south so bad until it really ends. And it ends because I didn't make enough money. No. It ended because, no, it ended because I was passive aggressive. I didn't want to fight. I'm tired of fighting. I didn't want to really talk about something that was unpleasant and uncomfortable. And friends, y'all know this is more truth than ever before. That was the truth in yesterday's relationship. That's the truth in today's relationship. Oftentimes we avoid dealing with stuff because we really don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to put up with what the pushback I'm gonna get. And so a lot of time what we do, we suffer in silence. We say things that we don't say things that we should have said, and we keep so much locked in. In psychology, they call it passive aggressive. We often live a passive aggressivity life, and when it gets out of control, we lose relationship. We lose valuable people around us, and we try to get some understanding. And oftentimes we misplace trying to get understanding, to think there were things outside of us when all along there were things that we really had some kind of control of. But that's just one aspect. I know there are various other things, which is why I'm so fortunate to be on a platform, and especially on tonight's show, friends. So when we say we're talking about relationship, we're talking about finance and money, word on the street community, I'm fortunate, but so are you, that we have two men who are from the heart of the world of finance. I got a small sliver from the world of psychology. So when you mix those two together, we want to bring you the very best that we possibly can. But we can only give you what we can give you in this short period of time. If you want more, you just got to keep tuning in every Thursday at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Or better yet, subscribe. And that way you would never miss an opportunity to tune in and be with us. Somebody, take it from there, my brothers. Anyone, y'all go ahead.
Hey, for Vince, can you hear us? I know you was having a problem.
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, so like when the video playing, you can hear the video.
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear
yeah,
it. But I thought it cut off or something, or it could have just been where it ended. So
yeah, we're in. Okay, I'll just make sure we all good. You go
yeah.
ahead and start, man. You go ahead with it, man. Story. Yeah, I heard him say something, but you go ahead and finish, or you want me? How you want to roll?
So you want me to go first, Keith?
Yeah, you can go. I'll go
Okay.
last. Yeah.
Now I guess communication, right? You hear it so often. What's the phrase? Communication is key. Communication is key. I haven't had my biological father served in Vietnam. My grandfather, my mom's dad, served in World War II. And I know, Keith, you've served in the military. So I feel like I come up in like a military background without going through it from the US government, but I went through it at home. The one thing that I've always learned in war, the enemy wants to cut communication off, right? That's how they strategically stop the other side from advancing and being able to plan, right? So if you look at it, I was reading a book so many years ago, it may have been in my devotional. It says when your girlfriend was before your wife was your girlfriend, you all would have sex without the blessing of God. But then when your girlfriend becomes your wife, the sex decreases. And it's like the enemy has got in the middle of that. Larry's laughing because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But when I was reading that in my devotion, it's just like, man, it's something right now, right? And I'll give you a little insight from my point of view, right? Because we all have different stories that may relate to some, may not. 4 years into my marriage, right? I was a single dad for 10 years, raising two young men. My wife, who I'm with now, she was single for about 7 or 8 years, right? So you have two strong, dominant individuals, right? But the key for us in the beginning was communication because her style may be a little bit different than mine. And to be honest with you, I'm still 4 years into it. If you're not a student of who you do life with, whether it be your friends, your family, communicating often, things can go south real quick. There have been some quiet moments where the communication has stopped, right? Again, I got to decide, all right, am I going to be the person or is she going to be the person, right? So when we're talking about communication, to me, communication is very important in life, in business, who you do life with, who you do business with, because the enemy will use it as a distraction, right? Or as a device to cut off, right? When you're going into war, cut phone lines, you cut communication. The other side has no way to relay to each other what they want from each other, right? So then you're like everyone's not necessarily knowing what to do. But when you're on the same page and when you're having those communications, in corporate America, we call it crucial conversations, right? Someone has to have the crucial conversations in order for some conversations may not be the best ones, right? My wife is my mirror. I may not like what I see all the time, but she has to communicate to me. In the communication, there's two things that can happen. Me as a recipient, I can either shut her off or shut whoever else that is trying to communicate to me, or I can take in what they're telling me through the communication, right? We can communicate. We're all on these cameras, right, guys?
Yes.
We can communicate without saying a word with our eyes, with our body
Mhm.
expression, with our face
Yeah.
expression. Something that Keith told me, man, and Keith, man, I never told you this. I admired the fact that when Keith was losing his eyesight, I was like, man, I'm thinking about him and his marriage, and I'm like, he's not going to be able to see his wife like he used to see, right? So he has to have another way to communicate to her, not just with like a visual, but his bodily reactions is very important because she still can see, right? So she can read his way. So they communicate with facial gestures, with body. Like communication goes way further than just our speech.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So,
That's right.
and
That's
I'll just
right.
drop it there. Sorry, I don't want to take the floor because I know you guys
No,
got something to bring to the table too.
that is so well. Go ahead on, Chief. Boy, this is a good topic. Go ahead
Well,
on, brother.
you know, extraordinary events, they started at a high level, like you said about communication and, and the psychology of the brain. I'm going to take it to communication is very important, what I'm saying, but when you have no understanding. So I'm going to take it back when I got married young, what I'm saying? I mean, my first wife, Selena, she's on there, that's my first wife. We got married young, so we didn't understand all these things we understand now. You're older. This is my second marriage. But when I started off young, I didn't know what was key. You know what I'm saying? My mom, her mom, both of them came from trauma. You know what I'm saying? We saw that. When our grandmothers and grandfathers, we seen a married couple, but they was older. You know what I'm saying? Setting their ways. So as a young couple going into that, and we trying to make it somewhere. We just trying to survive. So like you said, the sex part, oh, outstanding. We just, just that's all we had. That's all. Even when we fought, sex solved everything. You know what I'm saying? That was our line of communication, but it didn't fulfill us. You know what I'm saying? But what we had no plan. We had no understanding. Like we said, we talking about love. We talking about finances. We talking about wealth. We didn't understand none of those things. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even understand love. I think we both were trying to escape from some situation in life and trying to figure it out. And when we got together, you know what I'm saying? Now we're not even around family. I'm in the military. We're not even around family. So the communication, we didn't know how to communicate. Our communication was howling, fighting. You know what I'm saying? You're not ignoring me. I'm walking out, leaving. You know what I'm saying? No, that's what our communication was. You know what I'm saying? So I think we were trying to fight through, but we was trying. And then we had a child, but we were trying to make something work that we didn't even understand. We did. We were trying to make it work. High school, we care about each other, but we both realized we never sit down and try to figure out why are we together. You know what I'm saying? Where are we trying to go? We were just happy to have a place over our head, a shelter, food. So we got a little car, and we thought that was going to solve everything, but it didn't. You know what I'm saying? And we went on a spiral out of control. You know what I'm saying? Basically, but I would say what it was because we didn't have the information. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the tools. We didn't have the understanding to keep us, together. We can talk people now, we friends now, we better friends now. All these years later, she done got remarried, divorced, I got remarried. We better friends now than we was when we was together. You know what I'm saying? We laugh about that now. We better friends now, you know what I'm saying, than we were together. Because the time that came, like Vince said, his wife now, you know what I'm saying? But the tools that we learned back then, the things that we went through, the growth that we went through, the counseling, the people we met, going through those trials and errors made us to get to this point. Now I'm remarried, you remarried, extraordinary remarried. Matter of fact, all three of us been through divorce on this panel. But those trials and errors that them times there were some hard times, some hurtful times. That, you know what I'm saying? Even though it was bad, it did help us to get to this point because we know, man, I can't act that way no more. I can't say those things no more. This time I might need to listen to what she's saying. Matter of fact, I'm gonna listen and be quiet and come back later and come back and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Things different, or bringing a counselor in, talking to a brother, get with brothers. So these trials and errors helped us along the way, even about finances, losing, messing up something, paying, not paying the bill. I had to go through this. Me, I'm personally, I didn't have that mentor, I didn't have that coach, I didn't have that father, my mother. They had their own trauma. So going through those times back then was real hard because we both talk about it. We talk about our parents, the role they played. They didn't know they had trauma that was bringing into our marriage, and we didn't know. We trying to be a great mother. I mean, son. She trying to be a good daughter, and we not looking at. We supposed to be doing a good husband and a good wife, and we let other things come our way. So that's what I'm saying. The thing for me starting out, I didn't have none of those things. I didn't have no understanding, and I wasn't searching for the understanding. I was just trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? And that cost me, but it got me to this point now, going through those trials and tribulations, made me a better person, made me a better father, better husband, better friend. You know what I'm saying? A better nephew, better son. So that for me, that what it was for me. And educated, thought, putting knowledge. I say
Mhm.
transformation is the evidence of education. So I started educating myself and start putting myself around and start asking questions and receiving it. That would work for me.
Hey, thank you, Keith. Extraordinaire. Do you mind if I piggyback off what Keith
Yeah,
said?
right, right. Go ahead, go right ahead.
He said something real key as far as generational trauma.
Yeah.
What Keith just stated was what I went through when we come up in an era of our parents told us there was no Bill Cosby type parenting back in the day when I was coming up. Like my mom watched it. The only thing she pulled from Bill Cosby is I'll put you in this world, I'll take you out.
Yeah.
So what I will say from that is my wife and I had to, in our premarital counseling, he had to speak with both of us, and he said, "You have to understand, Vince comes up in an era where yelling and hollering and screaming, that's the
Normal,
normal way of
normal way.
communication,
Yeah.
Hmm.
right? You got to
Yeah.
understand, my wife is Hispanic, right? She's very low key, she's quiet, and it's like she's not coming from that, right? So she didn't understand. I'm not yelling and hollering at you at that point in time. I'm trying to talk, right? But again, without the communication of our premarital counselor, she may have never
Hmm.
known that because that's just what I saw and that's what I did used to do, right? But I learned not to do that anymore, right? Because it was communicated to me. The one
Yeah.
thing that I also had to understand is I have the next generation behind me and our kids watching.
Yes.
They have to learn how to have constructive communication. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have conflict. I'm not going to be one of those parents that's like, oh, I never saw my parents or such and such argue. That's probably not the best thing to do because when you do get into an argument, you're not going to know how to handle it.
That's
Right.
true.
Right? So you
Right.
got to expose them to something, and it's okay to have conflict, right? It's how you resolve that conflict. My grandmother always told me you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. My wife tells me, and I know y'all have heard this before, it's not what you say, it's
It's
how you say it.
Yeah.
yes.
Approach is everything, and the
Yes.
communication in that
Yes.
comes with that. All right, Larry, go ahead.
Let
Sorry,
me,
there.
no, man. Let me piggyback on what you said, on what both of y'all said. We hear these things, but as I so often say, application, being able to apply these things is we don't do it. That's why, coming from the background I came from, and I really wish we had a female perspective on here tonight as well. But if I knew how to communicate effectively, maybe things would have turned out differently than they did. You know, words are more powerful than a weapon. You can really, I mean, you can really tear pieces, people apart with your words. And perhaps I might have been guilty of that. And just like the both of you all, through counseling and through self inventory, I learned things about myself that needed improvement. When you're going through the storm, when you're going through what we may call a bad relationship, a bad marriage, or a bad union, whatever you all call it, whatever situation you may be in, when it's bad, it's bad. It's all bad. It's so bad you don't have an opportunity to really take a inward look at yourself as to what may have caused it to get so bad. It didn't start out that way because you all never would have gotten together. You never would have said I do. You never would have gotten married if it started out that way in the beginning. So what got it to that point? And that's the area that I think we need to penetrate and work on so that you're not carrying that luggage into your new relationship. Now, and we're talking about communication, and the spokeslady said that there's another side of communication, that's lack of communication. So we got one situation whereby it's not what you say and but how you say it. And then on the other side, we also have the silence. Come on, y'all. How many of us have used the silence treatment to punish someone, to abuse someone, to ignore someone? We use I know I used it. Come on, y'all. We use that silence treatment, that passive aggressiveness. That's our punching bag. We punch back. We make it up in our mind. And see, these are the areas, friends, that I'm talking to you about that we can work on. You can work on. You don't want to continue bringing those old baggage of yesterday into your life today. All of this play a role into wherever you are and whatever you want in your life today. This, believe it or not, it rolls over into your finance. It rolls over into your employment. It rolls over into the school. It rolls over into every aspect of your life. But yet, you think you just hurting her, you're just hurting him by ignoring them because that's your weapon. That's what you use. That's how you fight. So you fight it. Just hit the nail on the head. That's one of your ammunition. And see, I kind of like to just disrobe all these hidden things that we like to use appropriate words for. In reality, it's one of your weapons that you fight with. Now, when I use it that way, then you may work on it. Anybody want to add to that? Because I don't want. That's some good stuff right there.
Well, I'm not the person that use silence. My wife now, I'm used to that hollering and fussing and, I'm trying to get my point across. I want to get some understanding. That's what I come up in. So when I met my wife now, she's not doing all that. And I didn't understand that at all. What makes it funny, one time me and her was arguing, and I'm heated, and I'm walking through the house arguing and stuff, and she telling me, I'm not gonna do this with you. I'm not gonna do this. So I go downstairs, I go in the room, I come back, and I'm just fussing. I'm fussing. So I'm fucking. I go in the room, she's not in the room, and I'm still fussing. I'm going to, man, she got in the car and left. I'm out, and I'm still mad. I'm heated. You know what I'm saying? She got in the car and left. And I laugh about that. When you trying to fuss and you by yourself, you know what I'm saying? You can't talk to yourself. After a while, it's a difference. So she had to show me that, then do, like you said, going through counseling, because married, people talk about being married, but I would tell, like Vince said, man, you got to get bonded, get somebody, seek some counseling, because everybody raised different too. You know what I'm saying? But she took me, which she is younger than me. She was younger than me. She never been married, but she never did the hollering thing. She never did the arguing. She can't do that. So me, I had to learn another way. So I had to learn to communicate a different way. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn, that every situation doesn't got to be done right then. So again, start doing tools for me, it took some tools, it took a lot of reading, it took a lot of mentoring, it took a lot of things to get me past. Because like I said, I had past trauma. I had past trauma in my childhood. I had past trauma in my first marriage. So I brought those things, which I was trying not to, but they came with me. And I didn't realize until you get with that person, then you realize they are with you. You know what I'm saying? And you realize that you got to, to make things right, you got to fix those things. A lot of people want to say, I blame my wife, or I blame my husband, or I blame my spouse. No, really things, we talk about that all the time, is you need to fix you. Looking in that mirror, and I had to look in that mirror. And when you look in that mirror and you start dissecting, start tearing that mask, tearing that stuff apart, it's hard. It shakes you. You know what I'm saying? And when you start seeing it, it's ugly. So with me, what it was with me, man, I just said, look, I'm gonna release it. I don't know no better. I want to do better. I want this to work. So I had to tear all that apart and become something new. Like I said, renew your mind, renew your spirit. So that's what with me. I had to really dissect myself and really, get the right people around me. That when I did do that, I called, man. I got a cousin that I call all the time, man, and he helped me through a lot of things. Even when I lost my sight, Vince, we talked about my sight. I had issues with that, and I remember he called me one time. We had a little argument, and she called him, and we was at the. I said, man, I'm at the room. He said, well, she gonna come back and get you. She left me. She ain't gonna do all that arguing. So he said, when you get to the house, call me. So I get to the house, I called him, and my cousin funny man. He started laughing. He said, Keith, people can tell you no just because you blind. You ain't no. I don't care about you. They can say no to you, and and then when he said it to me, it was like, you're right. I don't get to apologize. I don't, what I'm saying? She human too. It goes both ways. She going through things too. You know what I'm saying? So again, a lot of stuff is us. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the thing. If we just start working on us, the other person working them, and try to get understanding, man, and that's what it's all about for me. Go ahead, Vince.
No, that's very on point. I think what I've learned through in life also is I had to stop using the "oh, I'm just passionate." Right? Oh, I'm just passionate. That's just how I communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People, how do I say it? People do what you allow them to do. My wife, my first wife, she allowed me to do that.
yeah,
My second wife wasn't having it, and she laid the line in the sand real quick. Right? I had to want to change for me if I planned on keeping my wife. Right?
Yeah.
Not only that, again, I'm raising two young men. Right? Yelling and screaming is not the way. It doesn't work for everyone because at some point people tune you out. I will say this: there is a good side to the silent treatment because sometimes my silence
speak hard.
is, has kept me from saying the wrong thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I can say I was an individual that used the silent treatment, maybe in the wrong way in parts of my life. I may still struggle with it now. It's an everyday work in progress, right?
That's
But I'm
right.
learning, and I have the tools necessary
That's right.
to be able to handle it, right? I'm not going to sit up here and be like a hypocrite and say, "Oh, I'm not that." I still struggle with that.
That's right.
I like to use this phrase, and you all may hear me say this a lot on this podium. Up until now,
That's right.
I like to break the chain and the curse of the
Yeah.
power of
That's right.
giving the enemy that foothold. So I'll say, up until now,
That's right.
it's an everyday process, right?
It is. That's right. And
But
that's
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 yeah.
right.
Sorry.
That's right, brother. You know what? And that's why I mention it too, because both sides of those streets are important to mention.
Mhm.
And I too, what I bring out here on this show are things that I'm challenging every day of my life. But it's an everyday. It's like every day I got to pick up that cross
Mhm.
and deal with it and bear it. And
Yeah.
and another thing, both of you all mentioned about our children, about the kids. In a situation like that, in our case, listening to both of you all, I can justifiably say that they have helped us just by their mere presence of being there. We restrain ourselves because we won't behave any kind of way knowing that they may be watching. So I won't say things like I might normally say it if they weren't there. Y'all know what I'm saying?
well,
I restrain myself.
well, let me
I've
say
also had to communicate to my wife, and I've also had to tell her. Again, we're on the topic of communication. I've
That's
mhm.
right.
also had to tell her at times, "Hey, don't take my silence as a form of punishment. I'm just trying to think this through because I don't want to say the wrong thing." Again, there's two sides to that silence, right? Which side do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side of not saying the wrong thing that you can't take back? Once you cut that pillow open and throw all those feathers out, it's open. You're not going to get all those feathers back, right? So
Yeah.
again, there's two sides to that coin. Uh, when we say, I was once told, are you talking to them or are you talking at them? Right? That's a very, as a parent, when you're in a black family, you, like you're taught to be tough, right? Like you want to make sure that you're setting the tone, setting the example. But at some point in time, we have to learn how to. I don't know if y'all ever heard this, but Keith, you have how many kids? Four, five,
Uh,
five. I can honestly tell you, and tell me if I'm wrong, your five kids saw five different Keiths because you parented each one of those kids according to their style, right? So you had to switch it up. You had to talk to them and communicate. You may not, there's an old adage, same rules apply for everyone, but there's a different level of mercy and grace for every one of them, right? Everyone has their own identity, their own style. These are the same rules, right? But the kids, I can honestly say my kids saw different versions of me at different times of my life. I parented because they're 5 years apart. Things change. I couldn't necessarily do the same things because things advance and change so quickly. I had to evolve with them, right? So you communicated to your kids differently, each one. Am I right in saying that, Keith, or am I wrong?
well, with me, you gotta understand. I had kids when I was young, so it wasn't about communicate. It was about do as I see. I came from an era of do as I say, not as I do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no, it wasn't no having no communication. You know, so my first two kids, they went through a rough time. Matter of fact, I raised my sister-in-law too. So they went through it. They saw a different Keith. You know, so they saw a Keith that was tired. You know what I'm saying? You know, they saw a Keith that was again, when you're trying to survive, you ain't got time, you know what I'm saying, for a kid, they're gonna do and take what they give. And like I say, with my wife, ex-wife, Selena, we were going through our troubles. My first two and they saw some bad things. And as they got older, they still dealing with that trauma. So, like you said, my first set of kids, my daughter and my son, they older now, and my kid, my three, I got now two different lives because I grew to become two different people. Then I have a wife, a different wife, so they saw a total different side of me, and I'm still dealing with that trauma with them. I'm still trying to heal that trauma. Selena, we healed ours. You know, I had to fix that with that communication, like you said. I had a horrible communication with her. I talked to her. I done spoken about that before. I said some awful things that I had to fix, and I had to get those things rectified. That went years on that how I talked to her. Matter of fact, one time I was talking to her, and my wife, now we were dating. She heard me talking to her. And when I got off the phone, she said, "Man, if you ever talk to me like that," she said, "Man, I don't even know why Selena would even listen to you. I don't even know why she stayed on the phone. She said, I know you better not ever speak to me like that, uh, ever in your life." You know what I'm saying? So, things that I said, you know, and I, as a young man, I didn't care who heard it. You know, I was in that storm like that. And my kids heard me and seen me do some things. So, I was a horrible father, horrible husband, horrible thing. All that. I'm like I say, I'm naked on here. But when I came into my marriage, one thing I didn't want to do, I did not want to bring that to the next relationship. You know what I'm saying? I met a young lady before that, and I saw that I did not want to bring what I did to my next relationship. And even through the next relationship, I had to go back and heal that with me and my first wife, Selena. I had to go back and apologize. I had to go back and fix those things. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but I had to. So when you say communication, yes, the words are powerful, but the words don't just affect the person you're talking to. Like you said, it affect the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Affect the kids. You know, the mother, your mother-in-law, the people. It's a whole thing. The words can do to people, and you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it because you got to deal with yourself. Because when you do get to this person like where I'm at now, it bothers me. When that person that I came to, that grow to, that I look back at that person, I tell my son all the time, I say, the best person to take care of the old you is the young you. You know what I'm saying? That young you, you got to deal, the old you, that young you got to deal with each other. So be mindful of what you're doing in your young age to carry to your old age. So with me, like I said, talking about the communication, but again, I'm not making excuses. I had no skill. Like I say, I had no home training to that point. I was just frustrated about things, and things happened in our marriage, and it went into my kids. And you know, my sister-in-law we like my daughter, she's still with me, and we talk about it. I had to heal that. I had to apologize to her. I got another sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, Selena mama, may she rest in peace. I had to fix things with her. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that I got a chance to do, and I thank the Most High. But my communication skill was terrible, man. And again, I'm paying for it with my son and daughter, my oldest. I'm still dealing with that. I'm still trying to show them something to do. I got to explain myself to them because they still remember the old me. So, and I'm there, and they grown. But my kids now, and I'm sorry I went too long, some of that still came over, but I'm gonna tell you, my wife, she didn't allow it. She wasn't about to have it. I had to get right real quick, real fast, even when I didn't know I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? It was in me, but a lot of work, a lot of counseling, a lot of people like you, Vince, a lot of people that came, pastors and came and gave me and helped me get through those things. And the Most High, but all praises to Him, man. Go ahead.
Friends, if this is your first time checking out world premiere Word on the Streets, we go deep like this every week at 7:30 Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss a minute of it. And you can do so simply by subscribing. And when you subscribe, you will get a notification whenever we go live. So while you're at it, friends, click like, share our link, and make sure you never miss an episode. I'm so excited that we can come on a platform like this and express from our personal experience about our relationship. And the reason why this episode is so important is because so often in our life, especially when we watch TV and we get online, we're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever your social media platform favorite is, wherever you go, friends, we are easily misguided to think that our isms, our problems, are things outside of ourselves. And when the truth of the matter is, friends, much of our problems are eternally healing that inner child. And what Vincent, Fletcher, and I like to point to that has helped us was getting back in union with our Creator, who is the author and finisher of our faith. But don't just stop right there, because it's not about religion. I'm not talking about religion, friends. I'm talking about a personal relationship. And if you get a real personal relationship, you're going to seek professional help. You will seek counseling. You will seek information. Knowledge is information. So I said all of that because we're getting ready to cross the bridge over into the finance. Now, somebody may say, now, what that has to do with that? As we said on the top of the show, friends, everything is related. Everything is correlated. If you have a poor communication, poor listening, the three of us promise you, you're going to have issues in your finance. It's just the way it is. So friends, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a brief break and we'll be back on the other side. I promise you, you don't want to miss us.
Introducing my Soul Purpose Journal, a sacred space created for those ready to grow, reflect, and realign with purpose. This isn't just a journal, it's a companion for your becoming.
Each day, be guided by original poems that speak to your soul, daily affirmations that ground your truth, and extra space to pour your heart onto the page.
This isn't just a journal, it's a sacred invitation. My Soul Purpose Journal, available now.
If you haven't done so already, now's a good time to subscribe, hit like, and share this message. Tonight, I want to shine a light on someone who's helped millions rethink the way they approach money, Robert Kiyosaki. He's not just the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's a teacher who turned financial wisdom into a powerful, practical game. In this next 2.5-minute segment, you'll hear some valuable lessons. So listen closely, and let's have a real conversation afterward about how you can apply these same powerful techniques in your own life. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rich Dad Poor Dad himself, Robert Kiyosaki.
The second best way is called simulation. Simulation is where you get to make your mistakes. You get to make your mistakes after mistakes. You just make mistakes. See, human beings learn by making mistakes, except in school you make mistakes, you're considered stupid. In business, you make a mistake, you're fired, and you make a mistake in business, you're a failure. So a person's got to find a place to make mistakes. In scientists like Edison, it was a laboratory. So the reason I learned a lot was I made mistakes playing Monopoly. That's how I learned so much. And today I play Monopoly in real life. My wife and I have over 10,000 units, several hotels, golf courses, and oil wells. But that's the game. Once you learn it in your brain by playing games, simulations are the way you learn. So you practice. You make mistake after mistake after mistake. Like a golfer makes a mistake after mistake after mistake, then they turn pro. But the reason a lot of people are not rich, they think mistakes make you stupid. It's criminal. A baby cannot learn to walk unless they fall down. Can't learn to ride a bicycle until you fall off the bicycle. So that's where our school system's letting us down. So I love the military because they taught us to make mistake after mistake after mistake. Every day we flew, we practiced emergency procedures, and every day I killed my engine to fly my aircraft without an engine. And this here is me doing the real thing. I went down 3 times in Vietnam. And if not for practicing crashing, I wouldn't be here today. All 5 of my crew came home alive. So what I did was, after Bucky kind of chewed me out, he says, what can I do? I'm just a little guy. My wife and I created this board game called Cash Flow, but this is the key to the cash flow game here. This is called a financial statement. You add a financial statement to Monopoly, you have cash flow. This is financial literacy, how you understand numbers. Poor dad always said, go to school and get a high-paying job. The problem with education, they teach you to be employees. Rich dad taught me to be an entrepreneur, acquiring assets. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. Assets are very simple. You can plant an apple seed, and the apple seed grows into a tree. You harvest the apples. You sell the apples, you reinvest your profits, and you keep building an orchard. That's how you get rich. Or a friend of mine, when he was in high school, his grandma gave him some chickens. Those chickens laid eggs. He sold the eggs and reinvested it. And when he was 45, I think he sold his business. He was selling 10 million eggs a day to Costco and Walmart. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to build assets.
And I'm fortunate to have Vincent and Fletcher both on here. So, gentlemen, talk to us.
Let's go, V. Let's go, V.
So you want me to go first, Keith?
I can go. I can get it. You want to go? I got it.
It's funny. I have the Rich Dad Poor Dad back on the shelf back behind me, right? So I'm very familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, and being that I'm, as Keith knows, into the stock market industry and as far as business, I do listen to some of the things that he says. I will say this: we talk about trauma. And I know Keith and I had a discussion about this 2 weeks ago after we left one of our Saturday mornings men's meetup. I meet up with like a group of men every Saturday at 6:30, and we go through a book and we talk about the book, break it down. Keith and I were talking about finances and about, what was it, Keith? You said we have to live below our means.
Yeah, I said live below the means, and you said live within your means. Go ahead.
And I said live within our means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of us have trauma, not just with our family and things that have taken place, but we have a trauma with money. Like, I don't know if anyone has really deep dived into, like, we have traumatic experiences from a financial aspect of not having, right? Having to grind, seeing our parents suffer, and Keith and I talked about the poverty mindset that a lot of people have to, even myself, have to get out of my way, because you work all this time, right? We deserve to enjoy it and have a good time because we can't take it with us, right? So we got to be good stewards of our finances. But a lot of us have had a traumatic experience with our money to where we just don't know what to do with it because or we're afraid to do something with it because of what we lacked coming up as a child or either saw our parents do. All right, Keith, you can go ahead, brother.
Well, I got the board game, Robert Kiyosaki. I got the book, the board game. I made my kids read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and they had to give me a PowerPoint on it, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, I don't agree with everything he said, but the one thing they do is assets. You need assets. And so with me, my journey, man, I had no idea about money. The first thing that me and Vince talk about that, my mother used to sit there on the table and consolidate, reconcile her checkbook. And I used to see her doing it, trying to make it work, trying to build it, and that was my first experience. Then I used to save pennies in the bank. We'd save pennies and we would count the pennies, me and my brother. So me and my brother always been some good savers. You know what I'm saying? We were saving. He took it to another level. But, people heard my story about my brother helping me. But the thing I love about finance, and also in the Bible, the Bible, it says this thing in the Bible, man, you teach a man how to fish. You know what I'm saying? I tell my kids, now we ain't teaching nobody how to fish. We're gonna buy it. We're gonna teach how to fish, but we're gonna buy the lake so we can teach them how to fish in our lake. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy the whole lake, then they can come fish in our lake, and we're gonna build some houses around the lake, and we're gonna put some ski. So we're gonna take it to another level. And I think in our black community, we not just broke, we broken. See, broke is different than broken. See, broken means we can't connect those things together. We see just a few things. We see the things for to show everybody off. Back in the day, I was a hustler. We didn't put our money in the bank. We kept our money in our pockets. You know what I'm saying? So back in the day, you couldn't buy nothing. You bought the clothes, you bought the shoes, and people gave you, oh man, you looking good. Then you try to compete with that guy. That was we were broken. That system that we were put in to do that was broken. Our parents didn't talk to us about money. You know what I'm saying? They didn't talk to us about buying a house. And my mama said, my incident of buying a house, my mama said how much that house cost me $7,983. I don't know. I know it to a penny. You know what I'm saying? I heard her say, I don't know how I made that. Lord, you know what I'm saying? But let me show you something. My mama remodeled the house multiple times. She never spoke about the big things she did. She talked about the things that was hard, but I'm like, she remodeled the house multiple times. The house that we lived in as a kid had changed, and she was a single mother. And we talk about it's two coins, two sides of the coin, Minister on there. It's a good side and a bad side, but we focus on the bad all the time. All them good things that was happening, you know what I'm saying, that came, that did. You got the house, how she got the house. So when I say about finance, listen, our community, I believe we are broken. Not broke. We got the money because we spend the money. We out there, you still shining, but we are broken to the point that we don't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And when I see Robert Kiyosaki, I think the level that he's on, we got to do something mental before we get there. It's good to hear what he's saying. It's good to connect, but a broken person could not receive what he said. You see what I'm saying? Somebody that's broken, it would take them a while. And so when I started out, like people don't like Dave Ramsey, you know what I'm saying? Myron Golden, things like that. But I started out with Dave Ramsey, getting out of debt. And he have a place, but some people don't like him. That's where I started with debt, baby steps, doing that because I didn't understand. But first, I had to get understanding. I didn't understand what credit was. I didn't understand what bank was. I didn't understand what interest was. See, I had no knowledge. My people, again in the Bible, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So a lot of us are perishing because we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the education. And like you say, we know about these things, but getting you to apply the application, being intentional about it, that's another thing. So those things right there, broken, getting the knowledge, getting the education, then applying it, doing that thing. That's what it is right there.
See, it's a lot of questions in people's mind when we talk about finance. And so I just want to ask a couple of questions, and you guys are more than qualified to help me and to help our listening audience understand. Simple questions like, and maybe not so simple at all, because when you don't know, nothing is simple. what's the difference between asset and liability, or bad debt, good debt? Because we hear these terminology being kicked around all the time. Vincent, you care to elaborate on that, please?
Well, asset is be like something that you own that can continue that you can resell. We use that in the accounting world, right? Asset over liability. You always want more assets. I look at, say, my automobiles that I have. That's an asset, right? I can take that. If times get hard, I can take one of the vehicles and I can sell them, right? A liability is, say, how do I say it in the sense of if I have a credit card and if I've charged a credit card up $500, I have a $500 liability. My deal is I want to be more. I don't want to be in the red. I want to be in the black. As far as having more money, a lot of us, is what Keith and I were talking about, living above our means, within our means, and what was it, Keith? Living
Within your means,
below your means.
under your means, and live
Yeah,
within your
under your
means.
means. So for me, my goal is to have more assets than it is liability, because when we get a certain age, you know, finances may slow down depending on if you're in the corporate industry or in the work industry, and if you don't have residual income coming in, right? Like an individual that has Airbnb homes, right? They have assets, right? Because that money is also allowing them to make money, right? So as far as a good debt and bad debt, I've worked in collections a lot. So I don't know if there's a good, it, you hear the term, it's good to have, like, all debt is good, like good and bad. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. Right. So sorry, Keith, you can go ahead, brother.
Well, let me tell you like this. What I say about assets and liability. Anything can be a liability, but anything can be an asset. Your children can be a liability. That car can be a liability. When you eat too much and overweight, you can be a liability. So anything can be a liability, but everything can be an asset. You know what I'm saying? So let's get that. Let's get understanding. So if I'm, and I'm give you an example. I can have a home. That's an asset. But if I can't take care of it, I can't afford to pay the taxes. I can't afford to pay repair, and I got a strain on myself. I bought too much home. I bought too much of what I paid for. So now that house becomes a liability. You know what I'm saying? Even the car. You know what I'm saying? So things can be a liability. It depends on how you, but asset. But anything can be asset. Everything can be an asset. So asset is something that you have that you can afford, that it would bring you back a return. You know what I'm saying? Bring you back a longevity. You know, it can bring you back dollars, Bitcoin, whatever. That can be an asset. It can gain. You have gains on it in the future or while you with it. So that would be an asset. But liabilities, anything can be your jewelry. The jewelry on my neck, this watch. I mean, this ring. It's a beautiful ring. My wife paid too much money. I was mad about it when she bought it. But again, this could be it could be a liability. I lose it. My wife's gonna be very upset with me, and it's gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? I lose it, but I could take this ring to sell it. I would not get the value that I got for this ring. Our assets should multiply, should go up in value. This ring right here, the jewelry, I would not get the same price. Let somebody else see more value in it than I do. That's value. That's an asset. Someone else see this and say, "Hey, I see what this way, and I want to buy it." Somebody got to want to buy. Somebody got to want to give it to me. But if I don't, that could be a liability. I lost my money. So, and it could be that. So anything can be a liability. Now, good debt, bad debt. It got bad debt. Like you said, if I go get a credit card, let's use an example, and I'm not paying my credit card, I'm getting the annual rate is 29% interest rate, and I'm paying payments, and I'm paying 29% on it. It's taking money from me. That's a debt, bad debt. That's a debt that's costing me. And the debt is taken away from me. Now the good debt, I can have a loan on my house, same house. I got a loan in the house, and as the house is maturing, it's growing. I got a loan on it. Say I got it for 4%, but the house value is going up. You know what I'm saying? So that it better be that if I want to get a business, I take a loan out at the percentage to open my business, to run my business. It is making money. That is good debt. That debt made me be able to make more money than that debt that I'm paying that debt. You know what I'm saying? So that's good money, right? That's a good debt. But a bad debt, when you're not paying on time, when it causes you issues, again, a liability, which is a bad debt, that is bad debt with me. But that's it right there for me.
Man, that's good. That's good. Can you make that one even clearer? That sounds real good. So what you're saying? A bad debt is having what seven something. I'm in debt. I can't pay it. And the good debt, I'm in debt. I could pay it, but it's going up in value. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it can be you can be paying it, but you can make payments, but you're being charged interest, a high interest rate. So somebody be having a credit card and like, or just say a car, you overpaid for the car and you can't afford the car and it's costing you with late payments. That could be considered bad debt. Even if you get a credit card, like somebody like 29% on a credit card, and I'm keeping a balance on there and I'm paying it every month. It look good on my credit because I'm paying it, but I'm paying that 29%, so I'm losing money on that paying that interest when I could have just paid it off, if I could have paid it off and not acquire that interest on it. So that is bad debt. That is not doing anything. You just buying a material that is now if it's going towards your business. Let's say like good debt. Say I got a business. I got to buy equipment for that business. I will put that on that credit card and I will let my business pay for the credit card. You know what I'm saying? But I'm making more value with that business than I'm paying on that on that credit card. You see what I'm saying? I'm taking that credit to make more money with it. You know what I'm saying? So that can be a good credit like that. That could be a good
Hey
thing.
Vincent, before you jump in, I got a question. This is a hot potato, fellas. This one is hot. Everybody out there, y'all tune in. You about to get an answer, one way or the other, because I'm gonna ask. Everybody know right now in the world of credit, there's a lot of gurus out there teaching you don't have to pay your debts and you could get an 800 credit score. Is that true or false? Or how do you do it? Talk about it. Somebody help either put meat on that bone or take the meat off that bone because there's a lot of talk on the internet that you don't have to pay your debt.
Yeah, and I think that's from like a biblical principle. That's wrong, right? It says render to Caesar, even your taxes and everything. So when you're giving people an out, to me personally, I haven't gone that route, but I think that's bad advice when the individual tells them not to pay their debt because they're dodging a responsibility, right? Uh, and that's not what I'm teaching, and that's not what I would advise the individual to do. You take their credit card. The credit card is good debt if you're using it properly, right? To get bonus points. The cheat code of the credit card to me is always if you get your credit card, get a certain amount. Say I have one, got approved for a certain amount of money. I told them to reduce it to $500, right? Because I wanted to control it. And I also wanted to be able to, if it has an interest rate of 13%, if I pay the bill before the billing period or the statement comes out, I don't have to pay any interest on that, right? So that becomes to me good debt. If I'm looking at taking that credit card and, as you say, not paying the bill extraordinaire and then trying to get an 800 credit score, that's bad because what you don't pay impacts your credit score. So for me, I don't understand the logic in that. And honestly, it's the first time I've heard of it. So it shocks me that
Oh,
people are even giving
they
that
teaching
information.
it, bro. They out there teaching that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have
What
you
he's
heard it,
saying,
Pete?
yeah, what he's saying, what he teaching them is to keep a balance on your credit card. That was extraordinary saying. They teaching them to keep a balance on their credit card, and that will help their score. You know, yeah, that's some foolishness. But again, also that credit card can be a liability. You know what I'm saying? The liability is that most people don't understand credit. They don't understand the credit card. You know, that was my problem. We all got caught up in that, especially when you're young. You get that free, you think it's free money. You know what I'm saying? And you go and you find out real fast that it ain't free money. You start hitting that interest on you. But the three things with credit, credit on your credit score on that credit card is credit utilization, making on time payments, and I forgot one more thing. I'm with them. Dang, what that was. Making on time payment, the credit utilization, and I forget. I'm gonna go back to it in my mind. But what the people don't understand, like Vince said, is the credit utilization and making your payments on time. You know, those are two biggest factors that cause you to lose your credit score to go down. Making payments on time and credit utilization, and then time. You know what I'm saying? And how long you've been using the bank that helps too. and not, so, but the credit utilization is, like I said, me, you know, if I get $100 credit card, I would use 10%. I'm just saying that, let's just say 500. I'm gonna use 10%, 30%. People say up to 30. Me, I get it. I use about 10, 20, 10 to 20, 30% on my credit utilization. So you know what I'm saying. So if I got let's say $100, I can't use number what, $30 on it. You know what I'm saying. So that's my max on it. Because once you go in that 50%, some people say 50, that's when your credit is gonna be waving up and down. So credit utilization is the big part. Like I said, I go from between 10 to 30%. So me, I don't got credit cards. I have 2 credit cards. I want the maximum credit card I can have because I put everything on my credit card. And it took me time to get there, but I have 2 major big credit cards and I put everything on that and I make sure it doesn't go above 30%. That's why I want the biggest credit card I can because I plan on paying it off at my statement date. So what I did, so when that 30% get, that's my credit utilization. I'm under that. Then I'm gonna pay it off at the end of the month on time. I'm on that, so I'm killing that right there. So then while I'm doing it, a lot of people like to use points. I use cash back. I love cash back cards because they give me my money back. So I put all my bills on that. I get the cash back, and then I take the cash back and I use mine. I throw it in the market, but that's free money. You know what I'm saying? So that credit card is an asset to me. You see what I'm saying? But if I'm not paying my bills on time, my credit utilization is 50 or I'm paying 100, I'm 100% every month. I'm getting interest rate. That's a liability. See, something that I could use for an asset turned into a liability because I'm losing my credit score going down. I'm paying an interest rate, all that. But if I do it the other way, my credit score is going up because my utilization is under. My credit score, I'm getting money back because I'm paying it off. I'm putting all my stuff on there, and I'm also my credit score going up because I'm paying it off on time, and I'm not being charged no interest. So that becomes an asset to me. That's what debt for the credit card.
So if anybody out there listening, like Vincent said, I agree with both of y'all, but especially what you said, Vincent, about if you know you made that debt, friend, you know you charged up that card.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to fix that, pay that?
That's that broken. They broken, so there people are broken on that. That's it. That's that broken. That's what I mean about
That's
being
that's
broken.
that inner brokenness that you're
Yeah.
talking about.
That's that inner brokenness right there that we talking about.
That's it right there. Say
'Cause
that again, brother.
yeah,
That's
and
exactly right. And
I had,
this is go
let me
ahead
say
on,
this
man,
too, man.
because
I had
that's
this
what
one.
we started from on this show. Now y'all
Yeah.
see how it connect. It all make a loop. Go ahead on, Fletcher.
And like you said about the relationship, I had this one lady I was helping her with her credit, and I was going through her credit thing, and I was like, looking at her bills, and when you first talk to people about their credit, you can tell what's good and bad because you be like, well, what's your credit score? Is? You hit the down, it's bad. Most people don't even look at their credit. So the one that's bad, so you'll go pull their credit, and you start looking, you like, that really ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you go to that, so how does cable bill on here for $65? Now listen, that ain't mine. I said, what you mean it's on your credit? Now my ex-boyfriend put that on there, not that I'm doing, look, and the emotion tied into that credit, you're like, look, that ain't got nothing, it's on your credit. $65, you letting $65 bring your score down, it won't pay it, and you could have been paid. See, something simple like a knowledge, other relationships, mad, holding on to things. A lot of these things is behavior. A lot of these things are behavior or something they learn from somebody else. So them things right there on the credit score, on the money. But again, we went into the relationship, no, not communicating, not they
Mm,
mad at something. Them things cause that too.
mm. Man, that's well said. That's good stuff. That's well said. Anybody getting anything out of this? Friends, if you're getting anything out of this, make sure you smash up the like and subscribe. This is world premiere Word on the Streets. And we're talking about you, your relationship, your finance, your money, and how it's all interconnected, friends. There's there's no separation. You want more, then an interchange got to happen with you. You want a better relationship. You want a better job. You want more money. You want more income. What we want us. But what are you willing to do to get the things you truly want? What say you, Vincent?
Say it again, extraordinaire.
What are we willing to give up? What are we willing to change to go after and get what is ours, what we truly want in life?
Yeah, for me, it starts with my mind, because if my mind isn't repaired, I'm going to do the same thing over and over, right? So it starts with the mind, mental aspect of it. If I say I can, I can. If those that was it, those that say they can, and those that say they can't, right? So for me, it goes back to changing your mentality and changing your mindset, because if not, what do we tend to do? In pressure situations, we go back to what's most comfortable, right?
Exactly.
So if being in a traumatic experience, and as bad as it sounds, some of us would rather sit and fail than take a chance and exceed.
Boy, say that again, man. Say that again.
Some of us would rather sit and fail as opposed to getting out of fear and exceeding.
It's well said.
Yes.
Talk
Yeah.
to us, Fletcher, please.
Man, that's well said. I'm gonna go back like me and Vince were talking about when we had that discussion about living under your means or living within your means, and I went deep into that because it was bothering me because we had this conversation, and I called him back on it, and I was like, he was in Vince a really smart guy about money. We both, I done learned a lot from him about money. So when he was saying it, and I'm pondering, and I went and looked up it on AI. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta get this deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? How can he feel that way? But when I realized, what I'm saying, it is a difference. A person that living within under his means is a person that's trying to build assets. They try to have a plan. You know what I'm saying? They have a plan and they try to get to a place. They might be trying to get out of credit. They might be trying to buy a house. They might be trying to invest. They like I said, they want to change something. You know what I'm saying? They want to do something. They got plans. So to live under your means, live within your means, it's a journey you got to go on. Now, when you get to that journey, get to that place, now when you're at that place, you can live within your means. You know what I'm saying? They both work together, they tie together. So my journey with that before when I was living under I was living paycheck to paycheck at one time, and I didn't understand what living under your means. And when you say living under means, Vincent said it. Well, that's people that survive, and people that trying to survive. I said no, it doesn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? But he's not the only one think that. So when I try to help people, and I sit down with them, and I start saying, okay, I need you to do this and do that, and they start thinking about you trying to stop me from having fun. You trying to stop me from buying stuff. I said, I'm not trying to stop you. I'm not trying to stop you for anything. I'm showing you what you can do. I'm not telling you what you can't do. I'm telling you what you can do with the money that you have. It's not what's going to stop you. You know what I'm saying? It's what's going to do for what's going to improve you. So that's the difference. A lot of people think it's, oh, I'm just showing you what you can. I'm trying to show you a way. It ain't the right, it ain't that I'm doing it my way. And I heard that too. But why you think your way? It ain't my way because it's been around before me. It's a way. It's a vehicle you can get in and take you there. So again, that I think, and I figured that out, man. But it's working together, tandem, living under your means to be able to live within your means. Go ahead.
Man, this just is a beautiful conversation that we're having, friends. Y'all tuning in. We're sharing with you a way that you can have more, be more, do more. And friends, it is possible. And look at us. There's nothing special about us. We're just like you. It just come upon in our life, and we're pushing you on to allow it to come upon in your life as well. Draw a line in the sand and make a choice and walk there after the choice you made. And yes, it doesn't matter. You will fall down, you will fall backwards, but you don't have to stay down. You don't have to stay backwards. Get back on that horse and ride toward that feeling you might have now. You see, clarity come to all of us in certain spurts, in certain moments. We all saw it. You get clear vision for a moment. 2020, you see yourself. I can do this. And you can. Keep that vision before you. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You can make that change. You can make that difference. And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a lot of money to make changes. Man, woman, y'all listen. You don't have to have it together to get it together. You just need to start. I'm excited. I'm passionate, driven like that because I see a change in my personal life. And like the song goes and the story goes, I'm not who I used to be. I'm not, y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm not everything I want to be and what I used to be, but I'm better than what I used to be. And I hope to be better tomorrow than I am today. Every day is a day of progress and work. But I've signed a contract to myself. We're asking you to sign a contract to yourself. And we're at the end of the show. I'm excited, brothers. Vincent, Fletcher, y'all give us some good parting words for our community out there.
I'll go ahead and start off. I guess for me, it's be a good steward of your finances, your time, your talent, your treasures, your testimony, and the gifts that God has given you. Because there's always someone that wants what we have, right? No matter how hard we think we have it or how hard we think that we're going through something, we're privileged enough to say that we're going through first world problems. We really do have other people out there that are going through some things that we feel like it's the end of the world for us. So be a good steward of your time, talent, treasure. Share the love, joy. Each one teach one, as my shirt says, iron sharpens iron. Give back, pour into other people. Keith?
Well, man, I talk about the four pillars with that spiritual health, physical health, mental health, and financial health. Also, I throw in that relationship and networking. Those things right there. Without that spiritual health, you can't have none of those things. Without the physical health, if your body is breaking down, you can't have none of those things. In the mental health, you're not going to figure nothing out. The most easy part about this is the financial health. The financial health is a tool that can be used. Relationships, who you know, networking, build you up. Those things are the important things. But the thing is your mindset. Got to get your mind right. Get your mind right. Figuring out what you want to do. Writing a vision for you and your loved ones, your family. Sit down, spend the time. All you need is one idea. But you got to have those pillars right, man. That spiritual with the Most High, that physical, working out every day. You hear me getting up in the morning, working out every day, giving that, and that mental, get your mind right, and that financial, man. You got to get it. So like I say on my show, be, do, have. Be fruitful, do multiply, have dominion. The blessing is that the Most High woke you up to be, do, and have. Because if you can't be woken, if you don't wake up, you in the ground, you can't do nothing. So the blessing is to wake up, to be better than you was yesterday, do better, and have better. And that's it. Let's do it, man. Let's wake up tomorrow. Give it to honor to the Most High. Start it off, spend your time with Him, then get that workout on, then go get this mental, that meditation, and then see these finances. They ain't nothing but education, man. They ain't nothing but the knowledge. My people pass for lack of knowledge. Get the knowledge, transformation, the education, get the education, and I'm telling you, meet the people and wait on the Most High to do His part. You did your part. That's it, man. Hey, great show, y'all. Thank y'all. And hey, hit the like and share button. That's it.
Good night, everybody. See y'all Thursday.
And that wraps up another powerful episode of world premiere Word on the Streets. We're live every Thursday evening at 7:30 Central Standard Time, and we'd love to have you join us again. So take a moment to subscribe, tap that like button, and become part of this growing community. Until next time, guard your thoughts, speak only what you truly want to experience, and stay laser focused on what matters. Your words shape your world, and your mindset fuels your mission. We'll see you again, same time, same place, right here on World Premiere Word on the Streets, where truth meets transformation. Stay strong, stay grounded, and as always, stay true.